We have a lot of ideas here. I don't want to say I'm going to limit each person to 5 minutes, but I don't want it to go on and on and on. Does that make sense? So, because I'm sure everybody wants to speak. Or, where do we want to start? Chief, maybe you want to start.
Sure.
Well,
So I've been here for a little over 14 years. It's been my experience that traffic is very significant here in the city of Horicon. We have an excess of, depending on which data you look at, 10 to 12,000 vehicles every day on average go through our downtown. I ran some numbers and said, I wonder how many of the people that we pull over are from Horicon when they pass on the right, when they don't yield to a pedestrian, from Lake and Vine down to Highway 28. 81% of them are not from here. Enforcement is always one of the approaches to solving a problem. But when they're one and done, you can spank that person and they'll never do it again because they're not driving through here again. The folks that live here, the 19% that we did pull over, I know I was running late to work, and there's a whole myriad of reasons that folks give. But my belief is that we need a better mechanism of creating awareness, in addition to some physical things that we might be able to do to make it next to impossible for folks to pass on the right. That would be a home run for me. If we could couple those two things with the enforcement efforts that we're already doing, because we had 432 enforcement actions on that stretch of road this last year, 346 of which were folks not from here. That's 81%. That tells me that I don't necessarily have a purely enforcement problem, I've got an awareness problem. And I'm hoping that you guys have cost-effective ideas that we might be able to use to help solve that. So that's my start off.
Chief, could I have those numbers again?
Yes. 432 traffic stops with enforcement action between Lake and Vine and Highway 28. Non-residents were 346. Residents were 86.
But it was 81%, that's it.
Correct.
Okay, I'm too many numbers, I just put one.
Okay.
But when you look at the numbers of, how many did you say, how many thousand vehicles going through?
10 to 12,000 a day.
That percentage from just the average number of people that, whether they live in Horicon or not in Horicon, that are violating the law. You're talking 14,000 vehicles. We only have 3,500 people in town. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right, and at
No.
400 tickets, that doesn't seem like it'd be, we want this word spread to the truckers, I want those truckers ticketed, period. End of discussion. And at 400 tickets with 300 million, drivers through the year, that number isn't enough. And I don't, that's not enough. Those truckers need to be warned, and they need to be told again and again, when you're driving through Horicon, you mind our school, and you mind those children, and you mind those people. And that's it.
It's a lot of traffic.
That's a lot of traffic and not a lot of tickets.
And I know we're talking about cost-effective ideas, but the proper lighting, proper signage, maybe some speed radar indicators, people coming down before, coming into Horicon before 28. Maybe that could have prevented that truck from hitting that tree.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Well,
yeah, I mean,
is there a budget? I mean, because really we need money, right? We need money to put stuff in to make stuff happen. So what kind of budget do we have for anything like
We
that?
have small budgets for stuff like that, but they're not major. You're the guy with the budget.
Well, like I was saying, before
A lot of
everybody came
tickets.
in, put up those flags
signs by the school, and just the street coming up, going to the school. Why can't we do that right at the crossing? That's cheap, it's not expensive. And change those white lights on the sign, a yellow or orange. I stopped a guy going around and I asked him, I says, and he was in a big pickup. He says, what's wrong? I says, do you know how to read? Hey, what did I miss? They're not paying attention. And 50 to 75% of the people are on those doggone phones, not paying attention.
I agree, and I think that, just to go off of what you're saying, I think the flags are a good idea, but I think it's a Band-Aid to what we really need out there.
Well,
We
I'm
really,
trying
like
to
you
go
said,
little, and
like-
if we have to go bigger, then we go
Right,
bigger, but.
with the amount of
if we
traffic
can-
that we have coming through there, we need proper signage.
And
We need the yellow flashing lights, similar to what, you've seen in Beaver Dam,
Yes,
what they have, that's right in front of Walgreens.
yep,
That's
yep.
perfect, and we don't just need it there by the ice cream station, we're gonna need one further up too, with the new school coming in, cause kids are gonna be
Yes.
crossing there more often.
I
That's
would
gonna have to be in two
rather-
You know,
spots.
the superintendent wants me to cross them down.
One
by
at a
the
time.
Okay,
Okay.
sorry.
Speaking of the amount of traffic that we have on 33, is there any possibility for an alternate route for the semis and the trucks? Coming from the gravel pit, going to, I know, John Deere's entrance is on the totally opposite side of the city. It is, traffic is a huge issue within Horicon. I mean, just at that one stop and go light, if somebody stops on 33 at that crosswalk, you have, between the hours of 2 and 3:30, you have a mile behind you. So that's a lot of pressure for people to be stopping. So is there a possibility of an alternate route for trucks, at least trucks?
I mean, the state looked at it years and years ago and
I feel like we need to.
to
look at it
bypass
again.
Horicon, and there was no answer.
Well, that was years ago.
I feel like we
Years
should-
and years
we
ago.
should
Maybe we
push
can do it
for
again.
Because that is.
I mean, is there a way we can petition the state?
The only thing, what the problem is, you've received state money to fix that road, and I mean, I guess as a result of receiving that state money is, they have an obligation to use that road.
We're definitely using it.
Yeah, it's getting
There's-
usage.
There's
Yeah.
many people using it.
There's normal usage and then there's
This is
excessive usage.
excessive. I live on Cedar Street, just to get from my house from the ice cream station to the school, it takes me longer to drive there than to walk there with Jackie guiding the kids across the street. It's impossible. for
I
us.
understand that.
I think that's the biggest issue now. I mean, the crosswalk, yeah, I mean, Jason had a good point, we're gonna have a high school soon. So, like, what do we really focus on? The crosswalks or, really the amount of traffic, it's just, I feel like that's the biggest thing that we need to address.
26 is offering a route, for semi-traffic that can come through Juneau. They could come up that way, but for a lot of the John Deere traffic, that's a possibility.
Well, depending on which way it's coming from. It's coming from Milwaukee, they're not gonna do it.
The truck
We
speeds
tried-
slow down.
When they rebuilt, County Trunk E, we tried to keep the Walmart trucks. In fact, they agreed that one of the first meetings they had, there was a representative from Walmart, and he agreed that there'd be no Walmart traffic going through Horicon, and guess what was going through?
Sure.
But
Sunset.
most truck drivers are independent, so they don't deal with the company themselves.
Right. If we have signs saying no trucks don't they have that? Like
Not
are
a
there
truck route, no
penalties
truck
for semis going through areas that
I
they're
don't
not supposed to be
think-
going through?
I mean, in all honesty,
How
with
would
the
you
amount of
change that
traffic that we
culture?
have, it should be a 4-lane road going through Horicon.
Right, but.
I don't really
But
wanna.
the only
Yeah,
problem
we're
is
gonna get
there's
the
not,
thing.
there's not room.
Yeah, that's your front yard over there.
That's my yard.
And then they would go faster.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is another problem.
4 lanes isn't gonna solve your problem because you already have passing lanes right right problem. Because
Yeah.
you have a slightly wider road and they can do it. They
That-
can squeeze by.
that
So
would be-
expanding the road is the road.
And right now, that is one of our major issues, is passing on the right.
Right.
So is there something that we could do, speed bump or permanent cones or something that we can do, like, right even on Cedar Street, why is it so wide there? Cause we're
Where?
never allowed to pass on the right, correct? It's really wide, it's wide enough for another car to get around. So can we do something to make it not so wide that another car can't go around?
Yes.
A big old speed
Sidewalk.
bump or something, or?
Let's listen to Tim.
Hi, I'm Tim
Hi.
Keeman, I'm with the Public Works Crew. I've been working with the chief about this, or loosely with this, we're looking into various ways we can do this. First of all, rest assured that the highway's always been signed properly by DOT standards, so what we have is a unique issue where awareness is a key factor. We don't have a captive audience to educate them either, so we're really bucking uphill. Some of the concepts that we've been looking at, together with the police department, is that we would enhance the signs that are there and get some lighting on them. To do that, that's a $2,000 endeavor for each location to do it. Then, perhaps a more obstacle type of approach is that we would look at bringing in portable signs at each one of these bump outs, pushing it further into the street, making it much more of a visible obstacle. We wouldn't be lighting them, but we wouldn't be able to leave them there either. So putting something out on the shoulder of the road, sort of challenging the single lane width where people will not try to, because they'll hit a sign, is perhaps one of the more proactive things we can do. Causes some of the difficulties with maintenance of the road, or when we're out there plowing, when we're out there sweeping, these things have to be moved around.
So one of the things that Mr. Kingman and I kicked around when we were meeting on this last week and the week before is that, so we've got a portable speed hump. It's not a speed bump, it's a speed hump that regulates speed up to 40,000-pound vehicles at 22 to 25 miles an hour. There are 6 different locations that I plan on putting anchors into the road with his help so that we can move that from place to place. And it's a temporary thing, but at least we'll get it in different places so that we can affect traffic in real time at that place for a period of time. Whether or not we have more of those, I don't know. The other thing is, we got a $4,000 grant from the Bureau of Transportation Safety. I bought a speed sign with red and blue flashing lights. I also bought 6 anchor points for it to put in 6 key locations throughout the city. So I've got a traffic enforcement cop that works during the day, whose primary job it is to move those things around and help us address speed enforcement issues in the city. So his job is going to be dumping the data on that, so we have good data on what's been going through the town, what the average speed is, what the highest speed is, what the lowest speed is, all that other stuff, recharging it for 24 hours, and then putting it on a different mounting place here in the city. I know that on anybody on Main Street Road, that area's a problem too, and we've talked about some perception measures to help out there, because the road seems really wide, it does. But if you put in some actual factual parking striping and a double yellow line down the middle, folks think it's a lot smaller than it is, and it causes a slowing effect for traffic. I don't know why, but that's what the research shows, and you know, for the cost of a couple of gallons of paint, I'm all about trying that. So those are some of the things that Mr. Kingman and I have been talking about for that stretch of road between Lake and Vine and Highway 28. Now, it's my understanding that we have some say on signage and control measures from Highway 28 down into the city. It's also my understanding that we have no say on control measures or signage on the other side of Highway 28 or Clayson Street. The state has says, no, this is ours. We'll take all your recommendations, but it's ours and we're not changing it. The crash data doesn't support it, and that's what they rely on, crash data. Crash data, and we have asked, are we gonna wait for somebody to get killed? And that's, in their eyes, it's not a legitimate argument because the data doesn't back it up. And I understand that. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Can we take some of that money and, put a sign up about slow down in Horicon on the billboard coming in from 33 into Horicon? So instead of it being John Deere, it's slow down, thanks your safety committee, hey, don't kill our children. We appreciate you, John Deere, but it's causing a problem.
So when we had Crime Stopper signs, a decade ago, we put up billboards in the board for the Executive Law Enforcement Association. We would rent those, and they were about $600 or $700 a month to rent one of those big signs. Now, I don't know if we own that one out there, or we lease it from the property owner, or what, but hey, I'm all about trying whatever we can.
I
Yeah,
thought
nice,
that too.
yeah,
because-
nice big yellow sign that says, slow down, you're in Horicon, you know, we live here.
Yeah.
No passing
Slow
on the
down.
lights.
We love our children.
Yeah. Yeah, something to catch their attention.
I got a couple of questions about what was discussed here.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
My name's Tim.
Tim, you mentioned that according to DOC standards.
DOT.
DOT?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I just got off work.
We live in
Wrong
Horicon,
meeting.
you
Yeah,
don't know.
okay. According to DOT standards, it's the proper amount of signage in Horicon?
Actually, according to DOT standards, there would actually be less signage that would be necessary.
Is that just because the road it is, or does that include the volume of traffic coming
It
through
has
there
to do
too?
with the classification of road and its conception, the traffic flows that are present.
So that does
Standard
include the amount of traffic?
Signage by law that we are.
Is that the
obligated.
minimum standard?
It's the standard, I don't know if there is a minimum.
Okay, thank you. And you mentioned the speed control bumps?
Mhm.
Now you said that measures the speed of the vehicles
It,
going
it,
through?
it doesn't measure, it regulates it by causing a bump in your car. So we have a
Okay.
warning sign saying speed hump ahead,
It slows you.
and it
So-
causes you to slow down, cause it's bright yellow and black, and it goes, hey, this is a speed bump, and people don't speed over speed bumps.
Okay, and then that could be removed for plows to come through? or-
Absolutely.
That's one of the things that I was gonna bring up.
Absolutely, and that's my intent, same thing with the portable signs that Tim was talking about. You know, if we get a 30-pound base and we get a sign that comes up and it says, no passing on right, and it's gonna snow, I got a Suburban, we'll have the traffic cop go around and throw them all in the back of the Suburban, wait until the plows are done doing their thing. Same thing when they recover snow at 3 o'clock in the morning, cause they're out there doing that, we need them, cause we don't have much space. We're more than happy to go do that, because it helps.
Thank you.
It could also be a situation where once those speed bumps are used, that pattern is established when people start to slow down. Maybe that we can get through the winter periods without even having that there. As the chief and I talked about it, there are varying degrees of aggressiveness that's used to attack this. The speed bumps is the most aggressive. Stop signs are, but they're not permissible. And they're a lousy way to control speed on the road. However, the concepts that we've been talking about were to try these things in progressive steps, hopefully using the speed bumps as the last measure. We are actually meeting with some experts later this week. They are familiar with all the topics. We're getting them in here to say, hey, what have you seen in other places? What else? Did we miss anything? Can we try something? So there might be some other suggestions from the experts who signed the entire state. And from a practical sense, not a DOT official, it was a person that works with a sign supply company that's well versed in all of it. So we're looking for all the resources we can find to get this in there. But our immediate understanding is that some of these sign enhancements are gonna be kind of the first things we'll do. They're expensive when they're lit, so.
I do have those little green men that we put out up at the campgrounds to make sure everybody goes slow. When I have them out, nobody passes.
Well,
But I gotta take them in and out all the time.
Well, this is a safety problem. These are the labor we have to apply.
Unless they could get something that it could be chained right to that pole to where nobody could take them, and it can be drug, just on the chain and put out there every morning.
Well, the signage that you are using, the green persons or whatever, Our version of that is a portable sign that says no passing on the right. And it actually is an obstacle, more so than a sign. It is right as you come up down to the crosswalk areas where the bump outs are put in, or down the road further even. You get that sign out into the shoulder of the road where there is an ample single lane to travel. That's gonna get people from stopping, going around. So we see that as a little more proactive.
No, go ahead.
Speaking of the no passing on the right, is there a possibility to have that extended further down towards 28?
I was just gonna bring that up, and we have to look into that and see about extending it all the way through town.
To 28.
Cause right now the ordinance goes to, what, Finch?
Cedar.
Finch?
No, Finch you can pass on the right. And I will say
Finch is fair game.
Finch is the first fair game, Cedar is the last.
Yes.
So.
And Finch is a pretty problematic intersection.
And coming up towards Palmatory North and South.
Yes.
Well.
I mean, through 28, ideally.
My idea of the whole thing is, we should make no passing on the right all the way through town on 33.
Yes.
Yeah.
From 28 all
And then it would
yes.
be consistent messaging too, I mean, it would be all the way,
The
not
other-
just with portions.
And you know, the other problem that I see too is I drive towards Beaver Dam every day, and these poor people in John Deere that wanna cross the road there, I don't know how many times I've nearly gotten rear-ended for stopping for those people in the crosswalk. Because people just think after they get past the stoplight, like, oh, I'm free to pass on, you know, I'm free to go, and they don't stop for those people in the crosswalk there at John Deere.
That's not only there, it's all the way.
Oh, I know,
What
yeah.
I see at that area a lot, cause I go at that out of town every day, is that road is really wide right there, so if you get a semi and they're going past that Quick Trip and Subway, there are cars just going around him, like, that's another lane in the road, and I'm like, I couldn't be a semi driver, I'd be smashing them people, like,
Yeah.
but they go right past them and they, you know.
Actually, that's parking stalls really across from Quick Trip, right? Like by the Union Hall? That is not another lane of traffic.
No, it's not. It's not a designated lane of traffic.
Yeah.
It's open to parking, with the exception of, I think, 33 feet from the apex of the corner by
Yeah.
the Union Hall.
Yeah, but
That's
I
so
see cars
wide.
just going by, like they're passing
Oh.
each other, like it's a
On-
4-lane highway
We
right
all-
there,
we
and I'm
all
like-
see it.
Yeah, on Finch it's the same problem with it.
Yes.
You talked about the paint and creating the illusion, or, you know, parking in lines, and so I think it does help to some degree, cause people see that. But also perhaps maybe with the paint, we had talked at the last meeting about maybe, some, crosswalks that are perhaps colored or appear differently, that appear raised visually. So while you mentioned, you know, that the
Yeah.
paint may be just something, an inexpensive option, if that could maybe possibly be looked at too.
Something
And
that draws
also-
attention to drivers as they're coming by,
Yep.
that it's all an automatic alert
Could
to
you,
slow down.
could you paint on the side of the road, no passing on the right? Could you do that, like along, where it's so wide like that? I mean,
Yes.
I'm sorry I came late, I work and then a train, cause you know.
Cause it's
Story of our
Horicon.
life, story of our life, but I do wanna state, you know, we all live here, and there's people that live here that don't know that it's not a passing lane and that it's not 2 lanes, or they don't know where, like, okay, we can't pass here because those kids are here, but by Quick Trip, okay, we can pass here, because it's not clear, so now we're a highway going through our town. And we live here and half of us don't know half the time of where it is okay to pass. If there's people just passing through, they're not gonna know the difference either. It's not clear, and I think that's a big part of the problem. I probably missed that part
I
of
think
it.
if people take their driver's ed, they'll know that if you cannot pass on the right unless there's 2 lanes marked on the road.
But
They're
a
going
lot
in
of
the same
people
direction.
aren't.
I know that,
You-
I know that, but I'm saying that's taught in driver's ed.
Correct. If you're both traveling, you can't pull off to the right side, pass them, and then go back into the lane of traffic. If they're stopped to turn left, it's legal to go around them. It's not considered passing, it's legal.
You know, I know a state cop that pulls over people for doing that.
Okay.
It seems
Because he
to-
says the law says you cannot
Tim.
pass on the right unless there's 2 lanes.
What do you think about painting onto the road,
That's a true story.
no passing on the, is that a possible?
That's not a typical,
I-
painting that you would do, but in effect, the city is already doing something that
Would that even
and that
make
would
a
be-
difference if you did that? Would people see it?
I mean, you
I
see the
don't
bike
know, and
lane, right? That you
Yeah,
just
wouldn't
painted.
that be
I'm not trying to, I'm just saying like, I feel like it would be a big deal.
I know, everybody in here is aware of this.
Right.
But the people that aren't aware of it, that's the ones we have to get.
Well, and that's what I was thinking, these
That's
people,
why I'm
there's
asking,
the
Well, even if
81%
the-
from out of town that are driving through, you never see no passing on the right, so wouldn't that be a thing that you would see if you never see it anywhere, you don't see it in Milwaukee or anywhere else?
yeah, you don't see it anywhere.
So people would be like, huh, like, I
Pretty
don't know.
much that's the legal side to go around some,
I'm just throwing it out there.
I have no answers here, I'm just,
I know they put those bump outs to prevent it, but it hasn't worked.
That's part of the reason the bump outs are done. The bump outs are intended to make the travel distance of the pedestrian shorter. They're less risk crossing the street. You're supposed to be able to go out further and cross that single lane. In this particular case, they're a little wider than a single lane. It shortens the distance. The pedestrians can pool at the corner. They're supposed to be more visible that way. It's a very good concept. Unfortunately, it's not doing the whole job. If you wanted to go out and paint the streets to observe no passing on the right, you would have to either look at something like a shared lane, bike lane type of notation, or a fog line, where you would take a single line down the entire street length. Again, these are not real strong presentations as far as people becoming more aware when there's 6 or 8 signs already, a couple of them flashing at you, telling you not to do it. So, we haven't looked at that as being a substantial enough change to do more than we've already done.
If it was painted a different color for the parking areas and the crosswalks a different color, say Horicon orange or John Deere green, and it sticks out for people, it would be a deterrent.
Or parking only?
Yeah, it would just be a
I was
deterrent for
thinking of
people.
the areas
from doing
where
that.
it's not, cause there's the marked areas that say no passing on the right. But then if it were to extend the no passing on the right to the entire 33 in and out of Horicon, those wide open areas, like by the Quick Trip and Subway, over there, if you put that paint there is kinda more what I was thinking. Cause downtown's so busy already and they do have the bump outs and stuff, I get that there's some things going on there, but those wide open areas,
There's nothing.
there's nothing
I
there
think
at
that's
all.
probably,
And
there's a
technically
huge
it's
amount of problem.
not marked at all and it's not really, like, it's not enforced, in those other areas.
There's nothing there, there's nothing going past like Vicks, I see a lot
Right.
passing by Vicks there, like, cause it is really wide there and.
Right.
I mean, I get it, you don't wanna be behind a semi all the way down 33 going 40 miles an hour, but like, you can't be whipping around them in town either.
Oh, that's like going into Beaver Dam, everybody thinks that's
Right.
the
Well,
turbo
and it
lane,
should be no
that
passing
drives me
for-
nuts.
For the people turning left either, like no passing at all, not just if they're.
That's like I
I
said.
had two
okay,
I don't wanna lose sight of, we're talking a lot about passing on the right, but really the crosswalks in general and traffic yielding at all the crosswalks when pedestrians are crossing. I don't wanna lose sight of all the crosswalks and not just the passing on the right. I mean, where is it okay on the main stretch to park? Can we let cars be blocking crosswalks where kids can't see or pedestrians can't see and drivers can't see? Is that okay? I mean, can we make it all yellow curbage at least so that we're not parking in front of crosswalks and, like, I just don't wanna lose sight of all the crosswalks all the way down the stretch too. It's not just a passing on the right, it's a yielding thing too. It can take a really long time to cross 33. I mean, you could wait there for 15 minutes with no one stopping. They see you, they maybe slow down a little, but if you're not in the crosswalk, they don't think they have to stop. And you're kind of afraid to go
Even
out
then
into
they
the
don't
crosswalk.
stop.
But technically, I think if I read the law right, you have to have your foot in the crosswalk, right? Like you gotta put it in there.
A lot of
Well, I mean,
people are afraid to even go
Warner and I
behind the
both
crosswalk.
walk quite a bit. And I could be standing right out in the middle of the traffic almost, and they
Right.
don't, I mean, sure, some of them are very good,
Right, so
but-
I don't wanna
That's
say
where I
that's
got
where
hit, was in
the.
a crosswalk.
Yeah.
I got hit by a car. I wasn't hurt because I got pulled over the hood, but it was because someone was distracted distracted, looking elsewhere, thought that they could drive through the stop sign.
I just didn't wanna lose sight of that, I
And
mean,
go
even
up.
if we could put signs in, I know we mentioned this once before, and people like to hit them or whatever, but it's illegal to hit a sign that's in
What
the
signs
road,
are they?
right? So, I mean, having them visually out there, those type of signs might make a difference too.
Well, right now, we just, from what the chief has talked about and Tim, they've been talking about putting the speed humps out, which are gonna hopefully do what they're supposed to. And you have new signage that you said is coming,
A speed sign.
speed signs,
Yes.
which is movable.
Yep.
And I think we have to work on changing the ordinance to all the way through town, no passing on the right, because it is not a 4-lane highway. Well,
And even
I
if you
mean,
get people to stop
I'm
at
just,
this
I'm
crosswalk,
just trying to
that's it, you're gonna
recap
get
what,
people whipping around.
how proactive we are gonna start with. And we can always add more things as they come up with them. I mean, everybody's got ideas and we wanna hear them.
Is there any option for cameras? I mean, so I don't know how much a ticket costs for, not yielding to crosswalk pedestrians.
Not
But,
enough. Yeah, how much is it? How much is the ticket for not
I mean-
yielding to a pedestrian?
200 and, it's less than 300.
Yes, it is.
When my kid got hit, that's all he got, failing to yield.
With respect to.
Logan didn't, nobody got one when they hit Logan.
With respect to cameras, we cannot take enforcement action in Wisconsin based on an image. We have to physically
See it.
be there.
But maybe a lot of people don't know that.
Well,
Yeah. I'll tell you, if there's a camera there, they may
I'm
not.
gonna be afraid.
Yeah. Did
Can
we
I-
hit about stop sign already? Or like a 4-way stop or something, cause.
I thought you just said it, it's not permissible, I was actually just gonna ask that, like. to
Because
break up this
every morning, since I have purchased my house on North Cedar, every single morning, this poor woman almost gets hit every single day.
Yep.
I can't tell you enough. There's been times that I'll pull my car out straight, I'm turning to left, and instead I'll go forward because cars aren't stopping when
Yep.
they're coming. And there's kids out there, and she's walking out there and every single day.
Yep.
Is there any way to put like a 4-way stop there? And it's gonna suck for
Well,
us.
when we did 33 through town, they wanted to put another stop and go light in and on Hubbard and Lake. And the state said no.
So us as citizens.
The state highway.
Is there anything that we can do with regard to the state? Is there like a petition? Can we, I mean, how many people does it take to make, from the town to get the state to make?
You can
Don't they
try
have
anything.
ones that are
I mean,
longer,
I'm just
like,
wondering.
they have the longer, like, they have the longer green going on the highway and the I mean, like, seriously, it'll suck for me, and I know this, but I'm more than happy to have it suck for me and have the kids be safe.
They would not entertain another traffic control measure on Highway 33. When we had the road completely dug up and we were able to commit the resources necessary to put in another stop and go
They
light,
wanted nothing to do with it.
absolutely not.
Well, I mean, I don't think we're really looking for stop and go lights, it's
But
more
that
pedestrian
would
traffic
slow.
signs.
If you had another
We need better crosswalks.
stop in an area, it would slow everybody down just
A little bit.
a little bit.
I just can't imagine having more of a traffic buildup than we already have with the train and the stop and go light already. I think the alternate route for trucks is, like, how do we go about that?
I would love to see a Highway 33 bypass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would
so-
absolutely
But
love it.
So how do
that
we
was
go
looked
about
at
trying to look at it
ever
again?
since I've been
But
this
how?
high.
Yeah.
But
Marsh.
it never happened.
I don't know, that might be a Tim question, he might know how to look into, an approved or state adopted, bypass.
The DOT will periodically study communities to do just that. What happens in application in many instances, I just came from a community this happened to, is that they build the bypasses and people go through downtown anyways. It's a more immediate route. So sometimes these things are implemented and don't have the benefit you want them to. It can be studied, in fact, that should be looked at with the DOT representation here each year, there are grants and programs that will take situations like this and look at it. I've got the calls in, and I'll get that with you as well.
Thank you.
Again, these are concepts, and that type of approach can take years. So what I believe, the chief and I are trying to do is get some immediate, more proactive things out there.
Because, like you said though, Horicon isn't a big town, and you bypass it, the few businesses that are here would suffer big time.
Well, we certainly don't want our downtown suffering, and.
Well, I'm just stating that, I don't want it either.
Right, we want our tourists to stop at Nora's and the ice cream shop, and we want them to wander through, and we want new businesses to develop in downtown Horicon, of course. We want tourists to come through, we don't want the dangers with it. And, you know, the truckers are a big problem for me. I'm super irritated that those boys don't slow down when our kids are there in the morning and in the afternoon. Super nervous that something's gonna happen to Miss Jackie or any of the other children that I see. And I think that all of our ideas here today, a lot of them are contingent on the next. You know, we talk about the accident reports, and that's how we get signage on Highway 33. And then we talk about how much traffic we have coming through and how many tickets are being written. And I feel like if we got the word out to those truckers that you need to be careful in our town because we're watching you and you're gonna get it, then eventually they'll back off because they're gonna talk. It's the truckers will talk to each other. But I really feel like the speed bumps are an excellent idea. The paint is something that we really, really need to, I really feel like that needs to go along with the no passing on the right ordinance coming through. And those are the two cheapest options that can be done in a few short months. We could have that up and running by spring, you know.
So I like the direction that you're going with respect to creating an awareness among the trucking industry, because for the most part, that clientele is fairly static.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have a huge turnover of trucks. It's not like we've got, you know, East Coast and West Coast coming through. It's Creel Camp and Walmart, and I mean, it's some of the frequent flyers. So about 2 months ago, I don't know if you know Officer Schultes or not. He's about that big around. He's skinny, great, nice guy. So he does. He loves dogs and hunting and throwing axes and all that other stuff. So I didn't catch that, but okay.
Sorry.
So I sent him off to a National Highway Transportation Safety course to do phase 1 commercial motor vehicle inspections. And we are really close to rolling out that program, because before I roll it out, I need to establish the policies, the procedures, and how we're going to not detract from our regular patrol duties, because I gotta tell you, 15 years ago, I had 3 more full-time cops.
Right.
I'm down to 7.
Yeah, I'm really concerned about pulling those speed bumps in and out and how much they cost, and the one time we missed one and the plow got it before we could get it through. Yeah, I'm really concerned about that cost. You know, go ahead, sorry.
So my intent is not to throw the fear of God in them as far as truckers, because those inspections will take time, and those inspections can result in significant fines. But I don't want to send those shockwaves into our community like that unless we need to, because somebody is blatantly violating something that is clearly an established line that you just don't cross. So those are, a lot of those folks live here, they work here. I don't want them to be out of jobs. I don't want their companies to have issues. So there's a dance that has to go on with it. And I'm rolling out that program. Again, it's my intent to have it rolled out by January 1st. But then I gotta balance Todd's, shagging calls and doing school traffic in the morning, and then God forbid a train cause an issue during shift change and school letting up, where it'll cripple us for at least an hour with traffic all the way to the city limits in both ends. And then, oh my God, if there's an ambulance call, and we can't get by the train to get to Bill Roberts up to freaking high school for 25 minutes.
Right.
How do we stop that?
That's another meeting.
Yeah.
It is, it's another meeting, but
We have no control over the railroads.
Truckers are.
To go with the semi stuff that you're talking about, my husband worked at Crow Camp, you probably responded to his rollover. Crow Camp and John Deere are ridiculous with how many trailers you have to move, and you lose your job if you you don't hit those quotas, and that is why supposedly they're governed to only go 20 miles an hour, my husband will testify, they are not. They are not, and you get penalized, they dock your pay, they take your hours, if you're not moving trailers back and forth from 101 to downtown in a timely manner, like, and they're on you, like, it's crazy, it's absolutely crazy, and that's why he's no longer there, but, it's a demand that I think maybe the city needs to get in contact with Carl Camp and John Deere and be like, they're not running them trucks legal, they're too high, they're overloaded, they're going too fast, and the fact that more people aren't killed, more accidents don't happen, they happen in the yard, that's why nobody hears about it. My husband was the first in a lot of years to hit that city street.
Didn't happen not that long ago.
No.
A few years back, I thought they took the stop and go light out. Maybe it was a car on the corner.
So that's just what I'm saying, they're not running legal and they're just going too fast, and they have, that's your yard worth traffic right there.
So I grew up, my dad drove semi, my husband drives semi. When you guys see somebody driving a Quick Trip truck, a Walmart truck, on the back of it, how's my driving? Okay?
Oh yeah, call
Take
them
a
people
picture,
in.
take a picture of it. I know it's not safe and we shouldn't be doing it, but take a picture of the back of the semi. Call the company. Not necessarily will they do something every single time, because again, I grew up in this industry. But if they get enough calls about the same person doing the same thing in the same area, I guarantee you that driver's gonna be talked to. That's number one. Number two, I can try and help do something with getting words out there to people that I do know, to get it to there, because everybody knows on A, slow down. All of the companies are telling their drivers, you better not get a ticket there because you're gonna get double hit. You know you don't drive there, and my husband works for Barnett's, he has for almost 16 years, and they know you do not drive 1 mile over 45 miles an hour in that section. So why not get it out to those communities? Why not get it out to the companies? You know what? They're gonna start hitting you hard. So if we can get that word out there to the companies that this is what's gonna be the result, if it works for there and it has worked and it's gotten a lot better over there, why wouldn't it work here?
So are you asking, should we send an invite to Carl Cramp and John Deere and the local trucks companies to come to our safety meeting and have it addressed that there's some concern there and that we're asking them to talk about it? But also, I wanna, the money that if a trucker were to get ticketed for passing on the right or speeding or speeding in the downtown area, that would be a Horicon police officer that would give him the ticket. Where does that ticket go to? Who gets the money? Horicon?
We get a small portion of it. There's a portion that goes to, it's broken down about 5 different ways. And we get a very small portion of it when it's written under commercial motor vehicle or CMV laws. Those go more state. And it goes through the circuit court, it doesn't go through our municipal court. It goes through our municipal court, we keep a bigger piece of the pie, but the fine is a whole lot smaller. But we haven't adopted any of those state statutes for commercial motor vehicle enforcement because we've never been in the business of commercial motor vehicle enforcement.
Okay, but you will be.
January 1st?
Okay.
That's the intent.
That's the end goal, yeah.
Please don't say, Joe, it's the second. Why isn't that program working?
Right, the
Knocking on the door.
Yes.
I just wanna ask, of the 400 plus tickets per year that you talked about at the beginning of this, how many of that apply, do you think, to truckers or those?
I didn't run those numbers and I don't know.
I'm just wondering, comparatively, is it a lot of POVs or is it a lot of trucks? I mean, like what, you know?
So we've done targeted speed enforcement, and some of it was on West Lake Street, and we for a month did vehicle traffic there because oh my God, they're speeding, and it was a perception of speed more than a reality of speed because the fastest truck we had was 37. Now granted, that's 12 miles an hour over the limit, that's pretty darn quick, but when they're saying they're going 50 miles an hour and they're not. The average speed was less than 2 miles an hour over the speed limit for almost 1,000 vehicles on that stretch of road.
And can I ask one other question?
Yes, ma'am.
So in the morning and in the afternoon when the kids are crossing to and from school. Maybe this is gonna sound like, can there be a police presence?
There can.
There usually is.
But when there's a police presence there, like camped there, then we have, moms and dads going crazy over at Van Brunt, cause they gotta stop in the middle of the road, it's about them, my kid's gotta get out, oh, you forgot your backpack, give me a kiss, and now you got 30 vehicles going down the hill that you can't get up, or you got them backed up at the stop sign. So we have school traffic every day, morning and afternoon, and that's, the cops, I tell them, you are empowered to get out there and own an intersection if you need to. You are empowered to have a conversation with mom or dad and say, you can't stop here because you're backing up traffic.
Right.
There's a designated drop-off spot at the high school now for junior high and high school students. And we need you to use it. Don't park there at the stop sign and let your kids out. So we stand out there frequently.
I guess I meant on Lake Street.
Yes, and we
Okay.
can, but when we're there, then it
Oh, I
goes
see what you mean.
to heck in a handbasket somewhere else. And there's only 2 of us.
You can actually tell in the morning where you guys are, because if you guys are more at Van Brunt, them high schoolers are just, boom.
Yeah.
Like, they're crazy. It's like, but if you're at the high school,
Yep.
then Van Brunt, like you said.
And we do have a cop car or 2 that isn't on duty, and we will park it in a neighborhood, and then it takes like 5 minutes before people go, oh, that's just a parked cop car, it's not actually somebody monitoring traffic.
Do you feel that with, the new statute and the procedures that are gonna take place possibly in January of 2020, that you would need extra men, you'll need an extra, officer, because that DOT inspection on a truck like that can take takes an hour and a half
It
to
can,
3
there's a
hours.
part 1 and a part 2, and we're only doing part 1s. The part 2s are the ones that take a really long time, and we have to call an actual inspector in.
Right.
So we don't get into logbook management, we don't get into some of the technical aspects of it. There's a very specific list of things that Officer Schultes is now trained to look for in a commercial motor vehicle.
It still is an hour for, a truck, that first
It-
part of it.
it can be.
It is about an hour.
But if something, crisis or emergency happens, he's saying, go on your merry way, I gotta go do something else. And we do that for any traffic stop.
Excuse me, everybody, can we just pause for a minute here? We have to vote on a couple things before Jim has to leave.
Sorry, I have to leave.
And we can come back to this.
Yeah, before I leave, I had a previous, meeting, but I just would like to say a few things. Heard a lot of things here tonight, there's a lot of good suggestions. I think we have our homework to do as far as, looking at these options, finding out how much of the road that we really can do things on, how much money that some of the stuff would cost, to see if it's cost effective. I think with, the amount of, concern here and the amount of, traffic going through here, I think the 432 traffic stops are a little light. When there's that many vehicles going through, the street that day, and I mean, that's only 1 per day, a little bit more than 1 per day. I think that would cost anything that could be increased tomorrow already.
How's that?
Well, we.
Tell me how. Tell me how.
We need to
What
have
do you mean?
manpower.
How many cars are going through the street?
How many cops are available to be in that one spot for those 8 blocks all day?
I'm not saying all day. 432 traffic stops in 1 year. That's a little more than, not even 1.5 per day.
Yep.
I mean, I had discussion there, Greg, he said, I saw 8 cars in a row, looking out the window of the city hall. 8 cars in a row that flew through there. Yep. Your guy might be down at.
But I've even
down
seen
the
the mayor
street.
drive through a crosswalk when someone was crossing. I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna come back to this, we just need to, move on to, number 8 on our agenda. We have to issue a Class A fermented malt beverage license to Dollar
Thanks, John.
General. I need a motion.
So,
So moved by seconded. All in favor? Aye, motion carried. And then we also have to, approve the agent for Dollar General. Do you remember, do you have the name?
I don't.
I don't have it with me either, but I'm
Here's-
sure I can just say that.
Here's
You have it?
I have everything already.
Christine. Okay, I'll make a motion to approve Christine Engelhardt as the agent for the Dollar General.
I think we need to get it done. Second.
Second by Jim. All in favor? Aye, motion carried. Okay, we did not have any operator's license?
No.
Okay, that's, so, that's what we needed to do for our business. Now we can go back to the, cause Jim.
It's all on action.
Yeah.
Stop by and let me know.
I'm new to the area, I
How
don't
to
know
do
a lot
better.
that's going on, but I have witnessed a few things. One question I have, there's a sign on Cedar, it's supposedly an electronic sign where my friend here will press the button and absolutely nothing happens.
Yeah, we talked about that last time.
And like I said, I'm new, so I don't know what the parameters of what.
That, I have no idea.
I got a picture.
Okay, but on Cedar?
Yeah.
It's right there.
Lake Street at Cedar, there's electronic sign, like my friend here will press the button very religiously and nothing happens.
Isn't that more of a psychological thing?
No.
Well, it's wired up.
Something's
Well,
supposed to happen.
our biggest, our answer to that, we can ask Tim to check into that and to get it fixed.
Can I add one thing?
That, I mean, he's the head of Public Works.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's just an equipment problem.
I
I mean,
was told that they can't get the part and it's too expensive.
By who?
Here.
But,
We can check into that.
I'm trying to think who it was that said it's crazy, but that's what they said. It was one
Tim,
of the
Tim has
Horicon
recently
workers in
become
one
our
of the
head of
trucks.
Public Works, and
I think the person that should be taking care of it. I believe you on that.
And then the last thing, I work in Milwaukee and I work at Marquette, and there are a lot of signs that for the students crossing the streets and everything, because obviously you don't want anybody getting hurt. It happens occasionally. But there are state law signs that are up above the street, warning drivers that, hey, it's a state law to stop and yield in a crosswalk for pedestrians. I don't see anything as I traverse through Horicon. Reminding drivers.
I was gonna bring up the same thing, you see the signs that say buckle up, it's like a $250 fine.
Yeah.
Say, don't
Ticket or
stop
ticket.
when somebody's
Sometimes
at a
if you just
crosswalk, this is the fine.
remind drivers that if they're in a crosswalk, you're supposed to stop.
Just as a deterrent.
Well, maybe that may be, or perhaps that could be looked at as a substitute to some of these portable signs we're looking at too.
Good idea,
Above.
the street in front of
It
you.
wouldn't be above, it would be on the shoulder of the road. The superstructure for signs above the road is very expensive.
It is, you have to have that.
Mhm.
And can I, kind of on the same thing you were talking about fixing, on Finch and like that street light has been.
I only,
I know, because he talks with me.
I got 2 years, but they usually go in the same direction.
So as far as money is concerned, is this something that needs to be fundraising? Like, I mean, everyone keeps saying it costs money, it costs money, obviously everything costs money, but is there no money that the city can pull from other, do we need, I'm serious,
I asked.
Do I gotta sell
what-
candy
what is
bars
our
somewhere?
budget? Like what, I mean,
I don't know, what do you think, chief?
Are
Is
there
there
grants?
fundraisers?
fundraisers?
Is that anything that?
Are there grants that can be written?
I have not, in all my years of being an alderman, I've never had anybody do a fundraiser for, I mean, I guess there's been some kind. For the dog and. You know, there are some, I mean, for public, for schools and stuff, it's.
With how much people talk about this, I think we probably would get a lot of attention.
And I wish more had come, I tried,
But
I mean, to be
We all
honest with you,
did,
the
but-
first
Yeah.
place we went was City Hall, and actually, that's why I was calling you, and I'm like, there's nobody here. So then I'm like,
That's what I did.
oh, police department.
I went to City Hall and then I'm like, nobody's here, and then I went onto Facebook and saw everybody there, and well, then the train was there, so. I'm like, well.
I just have
But
one,
you know, I'm not
one
asking
more
to sell
thing to
candy
say.
bars, but.
The police department, I think, does a outstanding job. They, and we can't expect them to be out there patrolling all the time.
Right.
And pulling people over. Proper signage is the best answer, it's the cheapest route for what we have. I appreciate, this gentleman going to look at other communities on better crosswalks. But I think Horicon should be a leader in better crosswalks with the amount of traffic that we have. And people should be coming to us to figure out how to improve their communities and their crosswalks.
Yep, amen.
I love it.
Yeah.
Let's start a revolution.
Would John Deere fund anything?
I have a personal and professional opinion about fundraising. I should fundraise for sweatshirts for my kids' baseball team. I shouldn't fundraise for signs for pedestrian safety or signs for traffic control. I have an obligation as a representative of the city to do what's reasonable and necessary to keep our community safe. So, no, you shouldn't, I don't think you should sell anything to fundraise for this stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I just was throwing it out there, cause I'm like, with the money thing, like, we gotta do something, you know,
Is there something we can do? Is there something you want us to do?
You're doing it right now. You are absolutely
Yep, you're
doing
right
what I
there.
want you to do right now.
My biggest thing are the trucks, the semis. Fisher's trucks. They're got to be
Yeah.
going 35, 40 down Lake Street.
I know, we all think they are.
I used to drive a
I don't
semi.
wanna bring up a survey we did 5 or 10 years back. They're so big, they bounce, they seem like they're going faster than they are. We had an officer do what, 7 days? I don't remember what it was exactly, but
Some of them speed, and
yeah, I know,
we
they're-
catch some of them, and they.
but the cars
use their
go a
license.
lot faster too.
Yeah.
I
But
mean,
it
I've
takes
seen
a
that,
heck
they
of
go
a
past the
lot
ice cream
farther
station,
to stop.
they shoot
I
up,
have,
they shoot up out of town.
I have a little bitty subdivision I live in on the other end of town here. Little bitty one behind the bowling alley. And I swear there's cars going 35 miles an hour.
We work over there and we'll be outside and I'm like, oh my god, is that car doing like 60? I mean, they look like they're just
In one block.
zooming.
I live on Lake Street, just, between the two palmatories, and there's times where I'm coming home and I have to stop and wait for traffic to pull in the driveway, and I fear for my safety, I'm gonna get rear-ended.
You do, that is
I
rough.
will not go in your driveway.
Well, you know, cause sometimes you stop to turn and we have our blinker on, but you know, the traffic coming down that hill is just so fast and then they, you know, they're paying attention and I'm looking in my mirror and I'm going, alright,
Usually don't slow down
alright.
until they start going up the hill.
I don't wanna stop our meeting, but actually I lost a quorum. So I can't, theoretically, not holding a public meeting.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's our
Um,
cue to get.
but-
You can't even adjourn the meeting.
I can't even adjourn, but
I'll fill in.
So it'll go
yeah,
through.
no. So I wanna sum up what we kinda have come up with tonight. And like I did a little while ago, the speed humps, new signage, different types of signage that our chief and public works director are gonna be looking into. Change the ordinance is gonna be, probably gonna be on next month's agenda. Work on changing the ordinance, and we have to look at how far we wanna go. Do we wanna go all the way out of town or do we wanna just do the Main Street, which we have to talk about, and, you know, before we can change an ordinance, but that's gonna be on it. And I don't know, there's a lot of good ideas here.
You said it takes years to change the road,
Oh,
right?
and that would be, yeah, the change, yes.
So we started?
I don't know how, that's out of my hands.
Are we gonna start?
getting a study to evaluate Horicon?
Something, yeah,
Yeah.
people said it takes years to be able to change it.
I'm just a poor little city level here, I don't have anything to do with the state.
And with them changing the laws on the hours and what drivers can
Yeah.
do too, that's a whole nother dynamics of they're only allotted so much time they can drive, so.
2 years ago, we tried to slow them down coming in from the east, and we had absolutely no success.
We jumped up and down on the highway commissioner's desk, DOT's desk, and
Yeah.
no, on that side of 28, we
I
appreciate
mean,
your input.
Yep.
You guys you can yell at me all you want, but there's only a few things, and these are some of the things that I can have control over.
Did you mention paint on the crosswalks?
The what?
Paint on the crosswalks?
Paint?
We need to better identify our crosswalks, they
Yes.
blend in,
Okay.
they get worn, previous, folks didn't like painting anything yellow and didn't like, updating or refreshing the paint on the crosswalks.
And also those, some kind of
The ordinance
push out things that what did we call those? That had some kind of portable signs at crosswalks to narrow.
If you might put on the agenda for next month, the ordinance to change throughout town, the no passing on the right possibly, isn't it, what's the ordinance for the parking next to a crosswalk? Could we make people not park so close to the crosswalk? Cause I think it's kinda small in town, isn't it?
It is.
I was reading like 30 feet.
I'm not gonna say this ordinance is going to, be ready that quickly, but.
But just to add it to your list if that were something we could
Yeah,
have.
cause we have to get Kristen and the, lawyer involved and.
Well, if the ordinance is already there, like I guess we keep saying signs, but like a sign that says no parking here to whatever, like here to
Signs
curb
we
or.
can
This
do.
time to this time.
Yeah, or no,
Without
the
doing an
crosswalk
ordinance.
thing, like to not park so
Signage.
close. From here to corner. Yeah, from here to corner.
Yeah, but the ordinance is really short for the crosswalks, like, so like, there's a car that parks right across the street from where we live, and they're like right on the crosswalk, and they're always there.
Right in front?
I went to the library, I looked for the ordinance, I actually couldn't find the city ordinance. I found that the ordinance said you can't park in a crosswalk, and the state statute says you can't park within 15 feet of a crosswalk, but I could not find a city ordinance on how close you could park to a crosswalk.
I don't think we have one.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I mean, just cause it's hard for people, for both the pedestrians and the traffic, to see when the cars are parked so close to the crosswalk. I mean, I totally get parking, like, I'm not saying that people shouldn't be able to park on the side of the road, but just a little bit back or forward would help. And then we could just yellow paint it.
I noticed too in Madison they painted some of the crosswalks green, and they put, like a textured paint on it, so when you drive over it, it makes a noise like a rumble strip. And that brings awareness as well.
That's actually for bicycles.
Well, it's at crosswalks as well. Yeah, bicycles, they've been doing it all over the place.
They have, they've been very progressive about bicycle safety, and they actually have radar on the signs that sense somebody approaching, that activates the sign.
Those, radar signs, weren't they like 4,000?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, again, let's all candy bars. I mean, $4 sounds like a lot, but.
Yeah.
Big, huge
If
ones.
if it helps our kids not get hit, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth every penny.
Yeah, it's just.
Cause I'll tell you what,
Yep.
one of mine gets
Speed
got
sign.
hit, and it would kill me.
The ones that
Flashy thing?
flash your speed.
And that's a non-solar one.
Oh yeah,
Solar ones
Maple's
are
got a
about-
permanent one coming in, I don't know if it's east or west, whatever, Mayville has one coming in from like, if you're coming from Fond du Lac through Mayville. They have a permanent one there.
Yep.
Which actually does make me slow down, I'm not gonna lie.
That one.
Yeah, but then you have those people that like to see how fast they
The Beaver
can.
Dam Walgreens one. I mean, if we're gonna get flashing signs, that sign, I mean, it works, I mean, it really works, people really stop, and they got 4 lanes.
So that's where we are right now. And we'll work on it, and my 2 department heads that are here are gonna help me. unless anybody else has anything new? Or,
For the next meeting?
watch the, agenda, which is posted at the city hall. I'm not betting it will be ready by then.
Okay. Do you feel that, inviting the trucking companies, to a meeting with us, and then we show all of our
My
evidence
problem
and
is,
phone pics
what
of them?
you're gonna say to Deere and Company, you know what they're gonna say? None of those are their trucks.
Yeah, you're correct.
They're all somebody else.
So one of the things I jotted down on my notes was a, come to Jesus meeting with trucking points of contact.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, but I mean.
And I'm not talking about the program.
Yeah.
We're gonna be inspecting trucks.
And then do you want us to be, obviously safely taking the pictures and sending them to you by email? Just saying, these are our citizens, and this is what I'm getting in my email, you need to be
For
aware
things
of
that
it.
aren't related to speed, absolutely. If they're passing on the right, if they're failing to yield to a pedestrian or something, if it's speed,
Right?
Speed
Okay,
is your own.
I got nothing I can do
Yeah.
with that.
It's your own personal.
That's,
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, like I said earlier, there's only been one truck that has gone through this town since I've been crossing that was doing the speed limit, probably under. And it was a female trucker. And that was just, last week.
Well,
Or,
yeah, okay, so that's good, you know,
That's
if
right
the
now
wants to
is-
do
Inspections, make sure
That's
you
what I
ask
have for you
their
guys right
extra
now.
logbook.
thank you.
I
Cause they
mean-
all
always have
electronic.
more than one logbook.
Back when they wrote them, yes.
Yeah,
They're mostly
They're all
electronic
digital now.
Yep,
Oh, okay.
on their iPad or on their tablet or on their phone or.
Yep.
Well, I'd like to make a motion to let these men carry on. All in favor?
I have a couple more, things of business to take care of yet.
You want us to help you?
Nothing to vote on.
Oh, okay.
No, I can't vote on anything anymore. Non-action.
Run for public office.
Yeah, run for
Be on
public
this side of
office.
the table. I'm sick and tired of folks getting elected to public office with 9 write-in votes. Are you kidding me? A city with over 3,500 people and a cat does he does a write-in campaign and 9 people elected him to office.
Wow.
We have gotta get involved, folks, and you are my leaders.
I agree.
I mean,
All in favor of Jason?
if you don't wanna take the time to take out papers and try to get the office.
Come to
you
my
know,
house, I'll sign them.
You can't sign mine.
We'll vote for you too.
Right?
Yeah.
We all voted
power
for
couple,
you.
it's
Chief, anything for non-action?
No.
No, none. Oh, I don't have anybody else but me.
Glad all
How
your
are we
public
gonna
safety department heads are
adjourn?
here.
Hey, how can I adjourn?
You can't. You just have to fade off into the sunset. You cannot adjourn the meeting.
Can't
I
you
can't
appoint
adjourn
somebody?
myself.
Nope.
You can't
Anybody else
appoint-
wanna vote?
The meeting was not adjourned for lack of a quorum.
Okay.
You get phone a friend?
I'll second it. The meeting going. Oh, jeez, we gotta stay here longer until Friday.
We're here forever.
I haven't even been home yet. I know, me neither.
What? Hey, I had the train.
This morning, I need to get out of these clothes, maybe. Eat some, no, Horicon, you don't need to eat dinner.
I guess I go home then.
Thank you very much.